Let's have some fun, let's have some fun. Come on, everybody, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun, let's have some fun. It's my super duper fun time show.
Episode 4, Trapped, with Gayle Plaia.
Hello, and welcome to my super duper fun time show. I'm your host, Mrs. Floyd, and today we're going to be talking about a feeling when you are feeling perhaps a little trapped or stuck where you are. Maybe you just can't get away from others. We're going to call that cabin fever. Have you been feeling stuck in your home? Your family loves you and has been keeping you safe, but it is a normal feeling to want to go away and to be away from others for a while. Talk to the people who love you about how you're feeling, and maybe they can find a special place where you can go and just be by yourself when you just need to get away. Cabin fever can be especially difficult if you're having trouble dealing with the people around you. They may love you, but they're not always going to get along, and that's okay. And they know you love them too. So, finding a way to communicate with them and letting them know that you need some space away can be the first step to dealing with the feelings that you're feeling. Maybe you could also try closing your eyes and focusing on your breathing. Remember when we did this before? It's a very useful skill, and we'll use it again, I'm sure. So close your eyes with me. We'll breathe in for 3 and out for 3. Ready? Close your eyes. In, 2, 3, and out. 2, 3. One more time. In, 2, 3, and out. 2, 3. Another technique is to just count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There are lots of ways of calming down, and sometimes all we just need is to get away from other people and just be by ourselves for a little bit. If you do not have a special place by yourself, talk to the people who love you, and maybe they can help you find one such place to get away from everyone else, just for a little bit, just a little quiet time by yourself, and that can help calm down too. In today's story, we're going to read about a marine biologist who's working on a submarine, and unfortunately, he can't get very far away from the people around him, and he's kind of stuck too. So let's find out what he does. You ready? Let's begin. Arthur's Submarine Adventure. Today is the day that we begin an adventure on a submarine into the sea where we shall see amazing creatures galore. Now say goodbye to the sky and take a deep breath and dive. Once the excitement faded, all the novelty was gone. I just feel so crowded, seeing the same faces every day for so long. If I could just see someone else, I'd close my eyes and just breathe. I just breathe. And see the beauty around me. I hope you enjoyed today's story. Being with the same people every day can be challenging and a little bit frustrating. So learning to communicate with those people is going to be important for everyone involved. Sometimes you're going to just want to be alone and away from everyone else. Sometimes they're going to want to be alone and away from you. That doesn't mean they love you any less. It just means that they need a break. So you should listen to them when they say, I need some alone time. Today's episode may feel very familiar to you. It's a lot of the same sort of things as we talked about in our second episode when we went to the stars on a spaceship. There, she was worried about feeling lonely, whereas today's story, he had too many people and just wanted to get away. Being on a spaceship is a little bit like being on a submarine. Only instead of going up into the stars, it's going down into the ocean. So our very same spaceship from a couple weeks ago, we're going to use it as a submarine this time. Ready? All right. We're going to get into the submarine. Okay. It's very small, very cramped in here. But oh, look! I can see some fish and some... Ooh, is that a mermaid? I'm gonna go play with the mermaid. All right, gotta put on my helmet. I'm gonna put on my helmet and go swim with the mermaid. Ready? Swim, 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 swim. Hello, mermaid. The illustrations in today's story were made with watercolors. So we're gonna play with watercolors now. As you can see, we've got our paints, we've got our brushes, and we got a thing here of extra water so we can dip in and clear our brushes. Now, if you choose to do this at home, be very careful not to put a drinking glass next to your paint glass, because it is very easy to put the paint in the wrong cup or to try and drink out of the wrong cup. So just be very careful with that. So yes, we're gonna go ahead and begin. I'm going to start with a little bit of orange because I was thinking that I should make a clownfish. Have you ever seen a clownfish? Maybe at an aquarium or a zoo or something. They have a lot of bright orange. So I'm gonna sort of make a round little body here. And they have little side fins like so. A little top fin, a little bottom fin, and there's their tail. They got some other colors on them too. If you've ever seen Finding Nemo, that animal was a clownfish too. I'm gonna go ahead and color his whole body orange. What a pretty shade of orange. Yeah. I'm going to give him some dark highlights. Let's see, yeah, a little bit of black for me too. You know what? I should have checked a picture of a clownfish so I could remember better what they look like.
They're making more of a dagger fish.
Yeah. But you know what? That's okay.
They have white stripes, not black stripes.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Alright, so I will...
They have black on the outside of their stripes.
I'll give them some white stripes. Now, it's generally a good idea to start from lighter colors and go to dark. But I'm just playing. This is just for fun. Yeah, there we go.
And it has black on the outside. I think I've already said that.
It's not a very scientifically accurate clownfish. Oh, I made my brush a little bit dirty, so I'm going to rinse it off first before adding some more white.
What are you making?
I'm making a flower.
It's also better if you can wait for the colors to dry before you add on top of them. because it's not a very scientifically accurate clownfish, I'm going to make it not an accurate clownfish at all. I'm going to give him bright red lips and clown shoes. Yes, and a bright red nose. That's a really good idea. It's a clownfish.
What in the world?
It's time for snack, it's time for snack. Come on everybody, it's time for snack. In our story, the marine biologist was learning about the animals on a submarine. So today, we're going to make a meatball sub. Now, this is definitely going to need a grown-up's help because we're going to be using the oven today. And we have set it to 350, and I've already heard it go ding that it is preheated. But here's a part that you can help with. I used some grease to grease down the pan. And we're going to just go ahead and add our meatballs here. And they're going to take some time to cook, so let's go ahead and get started now. Now these are frozen pre-cooked meatballs. It's got a bunch of ice here, but that's okay. That's okay. And then we'll put it in the oven. Do not do this. Have your grown-up help you. Now we're going to set the time. All right. And in about 15 minutes, those will be ready to come out. See you in a while. The thing just beeped, so we are going to take it out and let it start to cool. Look at that. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Remember, only the grown-up uses the oven, okay? Be safe. I want to keep you safe. Okay, stop. All right, for this next part, take that. We're going to use a sauce, and we're just going to heat it up a little bit. Just a little bit to give it a little bit of heat. Just a little bit. Go ahead and stir. All right, and while she's doing that, I'm going to prep the bread. If you are lucky enough to have sub bread, you can use that. Or maybe your family has been baking bread and has figured out how to make baguettes. We're not so clever. We're just going to use hot dog buns. So I'm going to put this. Really? Yes. We are going to use this. Now I am trusting my daughter because she is a lot older. We're going to toast this bread. And it doesn't even need to be toasted for very much. I'm not even going to put it all the way to light. But while that's going, we're going to get out the cheese. Now you could potentially put the meatballs into the sauce and cook it that way. We're not going to do that. We follow the directions that were on the package. Okay. All right. So we're going to get this out. It's a little bit toasted. And we need little meatballs in the hot dog bun. Do 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 do. Okay. Then
you can do as little or as much of this sauce as you want. This is just regular spaghetti sauce. All right, and then we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top. And you could, if you wanted to be fancy, toast it up again or put it in the microwave to melt the cheese. But that's it. That is your meatball salad.
All right, and we are talking with an actual marine biologist. Hello, welcome to the show.
Sure.
Tell us your name and what you do.
My name is Gayle Plaia. I'm a retired marine biologist. I worked in many things ranging from pollution research to deep sea research. And I studied different types of animals, especially invertebrates. Those are the creepy crawly things like worms and crabs and shrimp and that kind of thing.
That is awesome. So you worked on a sub, is that correct?
Yes, I did. Part of my research was done with the submersible Johnson Sea Link, and that was during the 90s.
And what would you do there?
We were doing experiments on the deep sea floor. We were studying how the element carbon is utilized by the animals and the sediment down there in the bottom of the ocean. And an element that is the element of life. Okay, and it's also the element that makes up carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. So it's important to understand how the element carbon is used. Of course, it's eaten in our food. Everything eats carbon. It breathes carbon. And we found that it is buried into the ground. It's utilized by the animals and it's expired by the animals. And we were just investigating that carbon cycle down there in the deep sea where nobody had really gone before.
I gotta ask you about this picture right here. Who's this guy?
Oh, that is that's called a Venus flytrap sea anemone. Well, there's a fish in there too. There's a rose. All right.
Oh my goodness, there's a lot happening.
Okay, so he's kind of sitting behind the anemone. Brittle starfish, brittle stars. There was a big aggregation of those just along a ridge. The ocean off of deep ocean off of Cape Hatteras has a lot of canyons in it. And these used to be river valleys. But now, of course, they're flooded by the ocean. And so the topography there is just, canyons and walls and ridges. And it's a fascinating place.
So how did you become a marine biologist?
I started being a biologist when I was in first grade, and some kid brought in some tadpoles, and I just thought that was so cool, And I had a very good first grade teacher, and she taught us all about tadpoles. And from tadpoles, it went to insects, frogs, snakes, that kind of thing. My poor mother. And so it was just something I have always loved, biology and all the diversity of life. And so when I moved to Florida when I was a teenager, I got interested in the ocean. And I actually in high school had a marine biology class, and I learned how to scuba dive.
Wow.
And that just, went on from there.
So do you have any advice for any kids that might want to be a marine biologist someday?
My advice is, well, of course, you're going to have to go to college. So plan on that. Take as much science as you can, because marine biology isn't just biology. It is physics, it's chemistry. It's probably marine science is the most inclusive science of any, because the ocean affects the whole world. The weather, the land, everything. So you have to be kind of knowledgeable in all the sciences. And then when you go to college, take a good general biology program, and then plan on going to graduate school and specializing in what you find that you love there.
Can you tell us about your work with worms?
That's something that people always are amazed at. One of the jobs that I had was identifying worms. Now, worms in the ocean are different from the earthworms you dig up in the yard. The worms in the ocean have eyes and tentacles and teeth, and they run around, and some of them are very pretty, brightly colored, and they look like space aliens, really, when you look at them. So I've gotten quite proficient in identifying these worms, and I worked in Florida doing just that, going through sampling that had been done several years before. And I discovered something about these worms that nobody had really noticed before. I noticed that their tubes, which are hard shell tubes, had little structures inside of them. And when I brought that to the attention of the experts, it was found out that people had seen these structures in the fossil record, but did not know there were worms living today. And so down the road there, even after I quit working in Florida, I was notified one day that I had a worm named after me. And the Latin name of the worm is Spiroserpula plaiae. My last name is Plaia, and I've named my boat that we lived on Spiroserpula. Nobody can pronounce it. But that's my 15 seconds of fame in the world. I have a worm named after me.
Wow, that is so cool. Have you ever felt cabin fever, or maybe do you have any tips on how to deal with cabin fever?
When we've lived on the boat, there are times when you can't get off the boat because the weather's too bad or something. And if it goes on for several days, I go stark crazy. But I find that I just find a book to read. That's my main thing. And I know that it'll pass. You know, I remind myself this is not going to be forever.
Right.
And I just kind of get a book and read it and go off in that world until it passes, and we can go back to our normal life again.
Are you reading anything right now?
Actually not. I've been busy going on hikes and photographing flowers. That's something new that another thing I do is learn something new, and botany has been very new to me.
That's wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
When you're out there in the world looking at the world and its beauty and its wonder, just know that there's some very strange jobs out there. And maybe someday, I had no idea that I would be identifying worms of all things. And that's an actual job. I never figured that I would be riding in a submarine. So there's all kinds of opportunities out there in life. And so go out there and find them.
Oh, thank you so much. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed today's show. We talked about being on a submarine and all the fish and wonderful creatures of the ocean and how amazing they are. We also talked a little bit about what it's like to be stuck with the people around you. It can be hard, but as always, start by talking about your feelings with the people who love you, and they can help you try and figure out a plan. Chances are they're feeling the same way too. Everyone needs a little bit of time away to themselves. And everyone also still loves you very much, even if they get very frustrated. Until next time, stay home, stay safe.